What's going on, guys? It's your boy Tofi here with a Dokkan battle video. We just got news about LR Jiren here, and we're gonna check out his details to see how broken this man is gonna be. Now, as you know, it's been a while since we've had a Jiren in the past. You know, LR Tech Jiren is the most recent one we've had, and let's say he hasn't aged very well with Dokkan how it is now. So let's look at Jiren. Let's see his stats to see everything that he has going for him, and we shall go from there. All right, guys. So his leader skill, as you can see, is Universe 11, Ki +4, and HP, attack, and defense plus 200%. So, of course, a 200% leader for Universe 11. Also, a 200% leader for Universal Survival Saga. His super attack, raise attack and defense for 1 turn, causing colossal damage to enemy. Not too bad, for sure. Ultra super attack greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, causing mega colossal damage with a high chance of stunning the enemy. Stunning can always be good in these harder events. Gotta make sure we keep that intact. Passive skill, resentment of inferior strength. Ki +8 and attack and defense plus 350%. Disables the action of the enemy hit by the character's attack once within the turn and 1 turn upon the character's entry turn. Reduces damage received by 50% plus an additional attack and defense plus 50% when attacking. So his was a 50% damage reduction, and then an additional 50% attack and defense when he's attacking. That's pretty crazy. Think about it. That is he has attack and defense plus 350% while damage reduction of 50% plus an additional attack and defense plus 50% when he's attacking. Plus an additional attack plus 100% with a great chance of performing a critical hit, and reduces damage received by 11% as the second or third attacker in the turn. Okay, so slot 2 or 3, he receives more damage reduction in slot 2 or 3. So, I mean, from what it sounds like, you can put him wherever you want to. He's going to be busted as hell. So we can only assume with these next details we're going to read that he's going to be very broken. He has a standby skill, stands by for 5 turns, during which charge count increases by 1 per key sphere obtained by allies. Okay, not too bad. Always a good standby skill when you can just increase it with the key spheres. Can be activated starting from the 3rd turn from the start of turn. Okay, not great, but also not terrible at the same time. If you get him in slot 7, it could be not in the best interest to use the standby skill, especially with the way Dokkan is now, unless you're using it in these longer events. If you can nuke these hard bosses pretty easily before he can get his standby skill even off, then what's the point of the standby skill, you know? Link skill, Supreme Warrior, Shocking Speed, Infighter, Godly Power, Tournament of Power, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power. Not the greatest Link skills in the world, but, you know, we gotta, you know, deal with what we are given, honestly. So, his categories, he has a pretty decent amount of categories. Looks pretty good so far. So we got Universal Survival Saga, Realm of Gods, Full Power, Transformation Boost, Universe 11, Space Traveling Warriors, Powerful Comeback, Defenders of Justice, Battle of Fate, Tournament Participants, and Super Bosses. So, big buff to the Super Bosses here that we're getting with him, of course. We have, you know, LR Broly, we got Tech Merge Zamasu on there, just to name the big hitters, of course, obviously. Universal Survival Saga also gets another big one with Jiren added to that. Realm of Gods as well. He's going to be a very key component to these teams and these harder fights, you know. Let's see. Where is his? So this is his initial form, as you can see. It gives all the details here. The art is pretty fire. He's looking very menacing just standing here like this. So we're going to get into his standby, which is this one, I believe. Also very menacing of him, just fire all around him and everything. Pretty crazy. This is where we got to get into these details for this because they have translations for this as well. So his passive skill and his standby is now is not the time. Crazy. Unable to attack, of course, typical standby. Defense plus 350%. All allies Ki +3 reduces damage received by 50% plus an additional damage reduction of 11% per key sphere obtained. Is there like any restriction on the 11% or anything? Because it usually will say like up to a certain percentage. So, I mean, if you can, you know, grab all the spheres on the field, he's just, I mean, obviously the standby is untouchable anyway, but the defense is plus 350% on top of an additional 50% damage reduction on top of 11% of key sphere obtained for the damage reduction as well. Plus an additional defense plus 100% when receiving an attack. So he can't be touched, literally. What can you do to him? Randomly changes one key sphere of a certain type, AGL excluded, of course, to AGL key spheres. So one key sphere of a certain type. So just randomly whatever type key sphere is on the field, it just changes them all to AGL. All allies attack plus 70% if this character is in the second or third to obtain key spheres in a turn. Wow. So if you have somebody that has a pretty good defensive set in these hard fights, I mean, you can, whatever these recent units that we've got, you could throw them in slot 1. That's a pretty good tanky unit. Throw him in slot 2 or 3. Everybody else on the team in that rotation at least gets an additional attack plus 70%. So that's pretty great for this support at least. You know, a lot of these characters are struggling for the attack stats to defeat these bosses, and that additional 70% of attack can definitely help on top of, you know, all this defense that he's providing, obviously not being able to get touched. So his link skills here, it looks like they're all the same except for Cold Judgment. Looks like it's the only one that changed here. Which one did it swap out for? Was that Shocking Speed? Of course, typical, he's standby, so there's no speed required here. So Cold Judgment is a good link skill for that. The final one we have here, I'm assuming is this, I'm going to assume based on the pictures, is full power form, which I can only imagine how cracked out this man is going to be. So let's read these stats and see what he has going on for him. All right, so we got his super attack here, Crimson Barrage. Greatly raises attack and raises defense for 1 turn and causes colossal damage to the enemy. All right. His 18 key, Omega Heat Magnetron, massively raises attack and raises defense for 1 turn, causing mega colossal damage to enemy and stuns the enemy. Pretty broken, as I can say. His passive skill is I Will Never Lose. That, typical Jiren fashion. All right. Key plus 11 and attack and defense 400%. Reduces damage received by 60%, so more damage reduction for this man. Foresees super attack and reduces damage received by an additional 11% for 1 turn from the start of character's entry turn. So basically, when you whip this man full power Jiren out, he has his damage reduction and his additional attack and defense, plus this damage reduction, plus an additional attack and defense plus 111% when attacking. Great chance of performing a critical hit plus an additional chance of performing a critical hit plus 11%, which each super attack performed. So this man, I mean, if he has additionals going on here, the crit's just going to keep flying in. The damage is going to be insane. Plus an additional attack plus 50%. This is just giving this man everything. Attacks guaranteed to hit and perform a critical hit when key is 24. So in full power, it seems like you want to prioritize trying to get him this. If you want to do as much damage as you can, try and prioritize getting his key to 24. Because a guaranteed crit and a guaranteed hit. So these bosses that are, you know, have a chance to dodge and everything, I'm assuming they're going to be hit by this man. There's no chance of them dodging it. Plus an additional attack plus 50% with each super attack received. So you could, I mean, you could throw him in slot 1. I mean, it's not going to do anything to him. So if he gets blitzed being in slot 1, he's fine. And then he's going to get more attack from it. So he'll be totally fine. Okay, his link skill here is Supreme Warrior, Shocking Speed, Infighter, Godly Power, Tournament of Power, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power. So is that the same as this right here? Yeah. So link skill doesn't change here. So, I mean, it's crazy. I think we also have a KO screen. Look at that. It's just insane. This KO screen is goated. That's just menacing in his eyes. But yeah, that's all the details we have for now. I guess whenever the data download comes, we're going to see how people are going to use him and how strong this man actually is. So, I appreciate y'all for watching. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Hope to see y'all again soon.